Happy Wednesday. The Seattle Mariners had a rather forgettable night last night in Detroit, falling to the Tigers 15-1. George Kirby lasted just 3 1/3 innings as Detroit hitters knocked him around for 11 runs on 12 hits. In fact, the Tigers hit not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 home runs in the game.
We're so happy to have Kerry Carpenter back in this lineup, who just completed a 4-game rehab assignment with AAA Toledo. The medical team did everything they could to try and make it as efficient as possible.
And he's driven the ball to left. Kerry Carpenter, welcome back. That was out in a heartbeat.
Pick up a cheapie here.
Oh, that's not a cheapie. That ball's drilled to right field. He's back in a big way. Kerry Carpenter, a second big fly. Kerry on 7-1.
There goes Dan Petrie running down the dugout right there. 2 home runs.
Rogers, right field. Did he? Haniger! Yes, Rogers did! It is a grand salami for Jake Rogers. Homers are contagious. Wow.
It's 6 or 7. I'll stretch it to 7. But
Urshela in the air, left field side. Arozarena just gave up on it. It is gone. That's a 4 for 4 for Gio Urshela. Javi Baez lifts it deep left field. Arozarena back at the track and the wall, and that got up and over and around the hole. It didn't go down, but it did go over. It's a 2-run shot.
Seattle and Detroit are playing again at Comerica Park. That is on Root Sports Northwest. Houston beat Tampa Bay 3-2 to gain another game in front of Seattle. In the American League West, Boston beat Texas to knock the Rangers back to 9.5 games out. Toronto beat LA 6-1. Oakland topped the Mets 9-4. The Wenatchee AppleSox will try to win the West Coast League North Division Championship at home tonight. The Bellingham Bells come calling at Paul Thomas Senior Stadium at 6:35. We'll have the game broadcast live here on the NCWLIFE channel. Joel Norman stopped by Wake Up Wenatchee Valley this morning to preview tonight's game.
And I think anyone who remembers the last time these two teams played on June 30th to determine who would win the first half, I think anyone who saw that would know, hey, we needed another matchup. This was too good of a season series. And in a way, it's fitting. This is the season series decider because we split our 6 games in the regular season with Bellingham. So I'm so excited to see these two again because year after year, we know the Bells have one of the top pitching staffs in the West Coast League. They have always had, at least since we can track stats, since 2010, they've always had a top 5 ERA in the WCL. You know that they're going to limit the runs that they give up, but we always know that these 3 years under Mitch Darlington, this team can score runs because no team in the West Coast League has scored more runs than the AppleSox over the last 3 years. So this is a heck of a clash. Just on that alone right there, the pitching, the strong pitching of the Bells, the hot hitting of the AppleSox, and we'll have to see. I think the thing that really helps Wenatchee tonight, Dan, is that it's at Paul Thomas Senior Stadium. And I think anyone who watched on Monday could agree that home field advantage really came into play against Victoria.
Joel has followed the AppleSox all summer as their radio broadcast voice on Sunny FM. He says Evan Canfield will get the start in tonight's game. Evan
Canfield's the starter tonight. And I think the biggest thing Mitch Darlington went into this postseason thinking about was, I can't waste any of my horses. You went with your all-stars in the first 2 games. You had Garrett Ahern start that one, Quincy Vassar game 2, and then game 3 you went to Cam Hoyland because that was who was available and was also a guy who's been racking up innings as of late. So it was a great call, and obviously it paid off. Now you go back to Canfield. He pitched it back on Saturday, 2 2/3 innings, 5 strikeouts, but the 2-run walk-off homer in the bottom of the 9th. The question can be, how can he bounce back, and how deep will he go here tonight? Because we know what Evan is capable of. He's had some tough moments in the postseason the last 2 years, both against Victoria. He gave up a home run against them last year in Game 2 at Victoria, gives up the walk-off home run this year. His numbers in the regular season speak for themselves. He's got the 3rd most strikeouts in AppleSox history, but can he perform on the big stage here with a chance to give us the North Division crown here tonight? I think pitching at home is really going to help him, and again, like Quincy, this is a 3-year guy with the AppleSox. Fans know him, he's part of this program, and he's got a pride that a first-year player for the Sox cannot. So I love giving him the baseball on the big stage here at home.
Norman says the season really turned around during a rough weekend against the Walla Walla Sweets on the home turf.
You think about it at that moment with that loss, that was back-to-back series losses. We had just dropped 2-3 to Yakima, losing the rubber match there. We start out facing one of the worst teams in the league by losing the first 2 games. At that point, it's kind of gut check time. It's what kind of team do we want to be? Yeah, you won your first 5 series. That's great. First half's not over yet. And we saw the way this team responded. Even just salvaging that series, we went on right after that to sweep Kelowna, and then we went into Bellingham and took care of business. Only got the 1 win, but only needed 1 win then. It was the important thing. So I was impressed with the way this group reset itself after that. And you know what? There were some lumps in the way in the second half. It wasn't perfect, and it was a worse record than what we had in the first half. We still won the second half. I think that's the thing to remember as well, is that this team has had its ups and downs. There have been some long nights at the yard, but this is still a team that went and won 35 games this season.
Coach Mitch Darlington has a simple message for AppleSox fans far and wide.
Anybody you know, man, you got brothers, sisters, you got grandparents, bring them out Wednesday night. We need this place a party at Paul Thomas.
AppleSox and Bells face off at 6:35 tonight with our pregame beginning at 6:30 here on the NCWLIFE channel. The South Division Championship also to be settled tonight in Corvallis, where the Knights are hosting Portland. That game also at 6:35. Columbia River 13U began bracket play today at the Babe Ruth World Series, falling short to Almonte Springs, Florida, 8-2 the final. The Greater Wenatchee team will play Auburn, Alabama on Friday morning at 7 o'clock our time. Meanwhile, the Wenatchee All-Star 10U team playing in the Cal Ripken World Series finished pool play yesterday with a 9-4 win over the Moravia Lions from the Czech Republic. They were taking on a team from Muscle Shoals, Alabama this afternoon. We'll have that score for you coming up tomorrow morning. That's a look at sports news. I'm Eric Granstrom. Have a happy Wednesday.